In a former treatise, O young Archimedes, we looked at evolution in the quantum age.
Yes, and as I recall, evolution in the quantum age is radically advanced compared to evolution in Darwin's age.
True. As I recall, a fellow called Sir Richard Owen, who was Darwin's superior and Darwin's advisor, had some ideas that potentially blend in well in the new quantum scene.
Information-responsive transformers, you mean? The concept of species as packages of information, and he did it before we had modern IT.
Owen may have been a veritable Jules Verne of paleontology, eh? Yes, in his day they didn't even have radio, leave alone electronic computers. For that matter, I don't think they even understood the atom. And as for such way-out concepts such as DNA and information devices in the middle of every cell, that was so futuristic it was pure Jules Verne science fiction.
Which means that Owen, who stuck to transforming archetypes, was relegated to the background, whilst Darwinism, which superficially provided an observable mechanism, namely natural selection or survival of the fittest, went on to take centre stage.
We may be assured, O young Archimedes, that it did that. And Darwinism happened to fit with certain ideological notions, and became a vexed, a controversial topic. A topic with, if we may say so, ideological and religious connotations. After all, up until the time of Darwin, the consensus in paleontology and in the study of the history of life was that the God who made the heavens and the earth was intimately involved in the creation of each and every life form, that species were special and reproductively self-contained units. Darwin, Huxley, Wallace and co. put naturalistic causes into the equation. This could only result in many hurt feelings.
Whether it is controversial or not, Darwinism does actually contribute to science by highlighting the role of the environment.
True, my friend. Owen had the information-sensitive transformers, but Darwin, Wallace, Huxley and co. had environmental conditions as providers of information which, thanks to our understanding of the information devices, such as RNA, DNA, etc. within each and every cell, in this age of way-out-there communications, in the age of Jules Verne futuristic communications, we can envisage environment as playing a part in Owen's transformers.
If I might interrupt here, I think it happens this way. During the lifetime of a species, the DNA, etc., of the species picks up information about the environment. The environmental info is tagged onto the DNA. At transformation, something happens that causes that info to become permanent fixture in the DNA. New DNA, but particularly suited to the environment. That happens at transformation. We mentioned that in the first video, how human cloning techniques are pointing to what happens at species transformation.
Eureka! I think you have it.
Which brings us back to Owen as being technically correct, and which brings in personal worldviews and what one may term religious beliefs, although there is nothing to stop anyone from saying that all this happened by pure chance.
Or by alien intervention. That's what a fellow, I think his name was Francis Crick, a fellow named Francis Crick, you remember Watson and Crick, I think it was, who came to an understanding of what DNA was. I think they won Nobel Prize or something. This fellow Crick seems to have come to the alien idea after he had twigged onto DNA and had a good look at it. He then went over to the idea of panspermia, in a sense, intervention from outer space.
Quantum theory does come from a different planet.
You said it. The mathematics involved is way out there. I can't even see it through a telescope.
Max Planck said it made him giddy, and he sure knew some math.
Here is a deep and ponderable question for you. We have touched on this matter of ideological and or religious controversy. One can scarcely separate religion from the origins of everything. Does thinking of God as being three in one, yet one in three, or whatever the Trinity implies, does this three in one concept make you giddy?
Certainly, I cannot reason it out. It is much more useful to me to think of God as being love, or truth, or justice, or something along those lines.
Likewise. But the technical facts are that there are particles, such as light photons and other subatomic particles, which are multiples whilst they are one. A light photon, for example, can act as though it is a multiple particle, yet it is only one particle. Of course, Archimedes, we know that these quantum so-called particles are not solid particles in the everyday sense, although they do have the properties of solid matter. They are quanta, discrete quantities, in the sense of, for sake of argument, a certain frequency or a fixed amount of energy in a certain form, which under certain circumstances does have the properties of a particle.
And only by allowing that such phenomena exist can we understand the material universe.
Not to mention such everyday things as, say, water, or a dog, or a cat. Just think about it a moment. Why do animals act according to instinct, as though some primordial programming causes them to do things that are really mysterious and yet are so true to the needs of their needs at the time? Nature cannot be understood without these quanta or quantum information concepts.
I suppose if you are a surfer, you might understand something about being on top of a wave, at the bottom of a wave, or halfway down a wave. That is, being an information state that is neither up nor down.
Yes, when I go surfing, I am up, down, and neither up nor down the wave forms simultaneously.
Is that what you call quantum entanglement?
I would call it drowning, excessive consumption of electrolyte, seawater.
If the creation involves sophisticated quantum information technology, can we better understand the biblical account of creation by reading it in the light of such technologies? Should we investigate?
Indeed, I think that would be an intelligent and perhaps even a useful pathway to take, provided we do so in the proper spirit of the occasion. So we might just put up a few biblical texts from Genesis, in this case, although the Bible contains more books than just Genesis. So there we go. All plants were coeval with, or almost coeval with, simultaneous with the formation of the earth itself. There we have flowering and fruiting plants, although already existing as living organisms, appearing in the same era or in the same context in the geologic history as with man, which incidentally is true to the fossil record. The flowering plants do not greatly precede man. And here we have it in black and white. All plant life pre-existed as living organisms. Only someone with intimate knowledge of the geologic record, plus an intimate knowledge of quantum information technology, and a lot more intimate than our understanding of it as yet, only a person with way out there understanding of these things could make such outrageous assertions.
Such as someone who is 3 in 1, whilst each of the 3 is one and the same.
You are making me giddy. These concepts are almost outlandish, yet they have been with us from the earliest times.
It's very humbling.
Yes, indeed. I take the liberty of quoting something that Owen wrote in his reply to Darwin. Although in fact it may not have originated in Owen, but he quoted it. And I think it hits the nail on the head. The origin of the species is the question of questions in zoology. The supreme problem which the most striking of our original labourers, the clearest zoological thinkers, and the most successful generalisers have never lost sight of, whilst they have approached it with due reverence.
It's very humbling.